What's up, Taiwan? I'm Liao with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan's military and special forces are practicing how to defend against a simulated airborne attack. Our reporter Jaime Ocon saw them in action.
Special Forces troops have just wrapped up a practice exercise here on the outskirts of New Taipei City. They trained how to defend against enemy helicopters and push back an enemy. Now, this kind of training is supposed to help practice how to respond quickly to an attack from the enemy. And it's pretty rare how Special Forces are out in the public. Similar drills were also conducted last week, but they didn't have an Air Force component to it. Now, soldiers told me that it's because last week, high school students nearby were taking college entrance exams. But now that those exams are done, the Air Force is in full swing. Fighter jets and attack helicopters were flying all around New Taipei City and making sure that they were providing cover fire for the soldiers on the ground, defending against a simulated enemy attack. There was also a small radar deployed in a park nearby, making sure that no enemy aircraft were in the area attacking Taiwan's defending soldiers. This deployment drill is in preparation for the upcoming Hangguang military exercises. Now, those are Taiwan's biggest annual military drills, where the country's armed forces simulate how to defend against an all-out invasion from China. This year's drills will be the biggest in the country's history, and soldiers here are just making sure that they're ready for the real thing. Howard Zhang and Jaime Ocon in New Taipei City for TaiwanPlus.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump has hinted that the U.S. would not defend Taiwan from China if he wins re-election. In an interview with Fox News, he suggested that this was because of Taiwan's semiconductor industry.
Taiwan took, smart, brilliant, they took our business away. We should have stopped them. We should have taxed them. We should have tariffed them.
Trump did not clearly state whether he would defend Taiwan, saying any answer he gave would put him in a bad negotiating position. But he did acknowledge that if China were to take over Taiwan, Beijing would be able to shut off the flow of high-end semiconductors to the rest of the world. Taiwan's foreign ministry would not comment on Trump's statements, only saying that Taiwan and the U.S. enjoy a close economic relationship. A former U.S. Defense Secretary says that Taiwan should keep its one-year period of conscription. Mark Esper, who was Defense Secretary for the Trump administration, made the comments in an interview with a local media outlet on Monday. He suggested that Taiwan should increase its military budget and that conscription should include both men and women. The country extended its period of conscription late last year from 4 months to 1 year. Esper also said the One China policy should adapt to the times and that the U.S. should be clearer in its strategic goals to send a more assertive message to Beijing. Vice President Lai Ching-te is set to visit Paraguay next month. And on the way to the South American country, he'll also stop over in the U.S. Though the details are still under wraps, the planned trip has already angered China. John Van Trieste has this report.
Next month, Taiwan's presidential hopeful Lai Ching-te will take a break from the campaign trail for a trip abroad. He's traveling to Paraguay, one of 13 countries that maintain official ties with Taiwan. And as Taiwan's vice president, Lai will represent Taipei as Paraguay inaugurates its new president, Santiago Peña. But it's Lai's planned stop in the U.S. that's been making headlines. Taiwanese officials headed to the Americas often make brief stops in the U.S. on the way. While the U.S. and Taiwan don't have an official relationship, these stops are a chance for unofficial exchanges, something that's important as Washington is Taiwan's biggest backer. Given Lai's presidential ambitions, there's speculation about what influential people he might meet while in the U.S. So far, that information is being kept under wraps.
目前预定是在14号上午抵达巴拉圭，15号出席就职典礼。那其他的行程与节目都在规划中。 确定后，我们会适时的对外说明。
And then there's the Chinese reaction. China claims Taiwan as its territory and has not ruled out taking the country by force. Beijing protests any interaction between Taiwanese and U.S. officials, even if the details of those visits are still unclear.
已向美方提出严正交涉。
Washington and Taiwan's foreign ministry both say the stop will just be a routine visit.
这是一个惯例，没有以前就是这个样子，现在也没有什么新话，就是这个样子，没有理由啊，也没有理由，也没有原因要造成这些不必要的这个骚扰。
But 6 months before Taiwan's presidential election, and with China looking on, this trip is already attracting a level of attention that's anything but normal. Justin Wu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Foxconn founder Terry Guo says accepting that Taiwan and the mainland are part of one China is Taiwan's best path to peace. That came in an opinion piece for the Washington Post. The tech billionaire says Taiwan thrived under a tacit deal it reached with China when the opposition Kuomintang were in power. Under that deal, Taipei and Beijing agreed that Taiwan is part of one China, but agreed to disagree about who should govern it. Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen refuses to accept that framework, and China cut off direct talks in 2016 as a result. Guo says the Tsai administration has greatly aggravated the threat of war and scared away investors. Observers say he may run for Taiwan's presidency next year. Taiwan's main opposition party, the Kuomintang, says it's found no evidence that one of its legislators sexually harassed a woman. The accusations are against legislator Fu Kunxi. A journalist says Fu inappropriately touched and kissed her at the end of a public event in 2014. At the time, Fu was the head of Hualien County in eastern Taiwan. This accusation is one of a wave of sexual assault allegations made against public figures in Taiwan in what's become known as the country's Me Too movement. The victim says she's speechless over the KMT's verdict. Food waste in Taiwan could fill the equivalent of 50,000 buildings the size of Taipei 101, Taiwan's tallest skyscraper. With this in mind, a culinary competition in Taoyuan tasked chefs with cooking up some delicious food without leaving any ingredients to waste. Harel Hughes has more.
Welcome to the Cherished Food Culinary Competition in Taoyuan. As you might expect, the goal here is for these chefs to cook up some culinary delights. But in this competition, it comes with a couple of extra caveats. They can only use local and seasonal ingredients, and by the end of it, there can't be any food left to waste.
首席厨师，他这个席就是席食的概念，也就是要让我们知道说我们要用多少、买多少、吃多少、煮多少这个概念哈。
The event was organized by the Environmental Protection Bureau of Taoyuan City to raise awareness about reducing food waste. It's estimated that Taiwan wastes over 2.2 million tons of food every year. The competition's organizers want to show how a bit of inventiveness in the kitchen can go a long way to significantly lowering that amount.
主要呢，我们就用了桃园的大褐米、大溪的韭菜、绿竹笋来呈现一个石锅拌饭，用永安渔港的虾来做一个荔枝虾球。
The chefs also used local ingredients, which helped reduce transport emissions by over 280 kilograms. One winner utilized indigenous cooking traditions by using every part of an animal to cook with.
教案是以泰雅族传统的一个意象，叫做哈玛利舌头这边出发，然后希望从这个地方让学生学习到一些习食的观念，其实是建立在泰雅文化传统里面。
The two winners were able to make delicious meals, and with nothing left over. They will go on to represent Taoyuan in a national competition later this year. Kama Xu and Harel Hughes for TaiwanPlus.
A vibrant Indian festival in New Taipei City is demonstrating Taiwan's increasing status as a cultural melting pot. Suvan Paul has the story.
This is a veena, an Indian musical instrument. Although ancient, it's still played by a few musicians. And the sounds it produces complement this Taiwanese singer at an Indian festival just outside Taipei. Its organizer, Jeffrey Wu, has been interested in Indian culture for 2 decades.
Every year I do the plan by myself. For example, the story of the Onam, I pick up myself. I outline and I 7 times or 10 times to Kerala.
Onam is an annual harvest festival celebrated in the South Indian state of Kerala. In Taiwan, music and drums kickstart the event, and the Indian artists take center stage. Many Taiwanese performers embrace Indian colors and costumes for a bright and lively atmosphere.
These Taiwanese performers have joined their hands with their Indian counterparts behind me on the stage. and the cross-cultural collaborations between the two countries are visibly growing stronger.
And this couple, who came all the way from India to perform at the event, have elevated their musical partnership to a permanent bond.
We met each other, we met the families, we all loved each other's families, and after some time we decided to take the plunge.
And I surrender kind of to the divine. Then it happened that as a gift, he came to my life.
Yet, while individual partnerships are proving fruitful, there are still obstacles to overcome. For example, during the pandemic, direct flights between India and Taiwan were stopped, and even now they have not been restored. One of the guests, Surinder Kumar, a frequent traveler between India and Taiwan, is feeling the pinch.
The people are going to India and the Indians coming to this side. They have to take flights from different destinations, which becomes expensive and also takes a lot of time.
There are no formal diplomatic ties between Taiwan and India. Despite these obstacles, friendships are still thriving. The celebration of Indian culture in Taiwan makes that vibrantly apparent. Hao Chang and Shugenbal for TaiwanPlus.
Researchers at Taiwan's top university are using corals to track how ocean currents in the South Pacific are getting stronger and to better predict what that could mean for our climate. Sally Ensign's got this report.
Making holes in the corals. But don't worry, it's all for science. These researchers on the Solomon Islands are using the marine animals to find out how Earth's climate is changing. They say corals in this part of the world can shine a light on South Pacific currents and the climate systems they help regulate. The groundbreaking research published in the science journal Nature has been carried out by these scientists at National Taiwan University.
而我们就反之就可以用这个同位素的变化去推估水团的这样的一个交换的变化，也就是告诉我们西边界流的强弱。
Subtropical western boundary currents are fast flowing. They carry warm water from the tropics to the north and south poles and eastwards towards South America. But the researchers found that as the planet heats up, these currents get stronger.
西边界流就起到了一个重要的角色，就是它会把从西边的太平洋的那些非常温暖的海水带到东边的赤道太平洋。每到圣婴年的时候，西边界流都会变得相对比较强。
The natural El Niño climate pattern began earlier this year. Coupled with climate change, it is rapidly heating the planet's oceans. These scientists have found that by gauging the strength of the western boundary current, they can estimate how intense El Niño might be and what this could mean for our weather systems. So, thanks to these corals, we now have a better idea how Earth's currents and climate are changing. James Lin and Sally Ensign for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan is known as the Kingdom of Butterflies. That title is thanks to places like Nantou County, where thousands of the beautiful insects have gathered. Eric Liao takes a look.
For a few months every summer in Nantou County's Puli Township, butterflies are king. After a devastating earthquake in 1999, locals decided to rebuild with butterflies in mind, planting flowers that attract the insects. Now, the area is home to 160 different species, or about a quarter of the country's total.
这些数量大概估计有1-2千只最近在活动。那它的活动时间大发生期大概6月底一直到9月期间都会有。
Because of its diverse habitats, Taiwan is fertile ground for butterflies. Scientists have documented over 400 species in the country. More than 50 of these can only be found here in Taiwan. Now, local officials in Nantou want people to take advantage of the summer vacation and to come check out their bountiful butterflies. Eason Chen and Eric Gao for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. I'm Leslie Liao. Take care and see you next time.